Good morning, everyone. My name's Brent Cummings. I teach Project Lead the Way at Jeremiah Gray Elementary, and Mrs. Davis and I also coach robotics. I just wanted to take a few minutes to talk about the great things that we've done, are doing, and want to do next year in our robotics program. We are going to do tryouts July 23rd, and I'll talk more about that in just a moment. I just would like to take some time to kind of tell you about me and our program. So, 4 years ago was when I started coaching robotics, and it was because this young lady right here, this is my daughter, Camila. So, 4 years ago, Camila was a fifth grader at Jeremiah Gray, and she was on the robotics team, and I was asked to help out coach. I didn't know anything about robotics other than my kids have done robotics, and my wife, Mrs. Cummings, who teaches Project Lead the Way at Winchester Village, coaches robotics over there as well. But I got hooked, and it is really fun. It is really exciting, and as I've done it year in and year out, I've learned that there's some things that I can do a better job of communicating to parents so that you guys better understand what is robotics and is it something that you and your child might be interested in doing. So I'm just going to go through some slides and kind of talk through some things, and if you have any questions, please reach out to me. And here's a picture of a great group of kids at Lucas Oil Stadium when we went to state this past month. So our new game is going to be released in May. Here we have Megan, who was on our robotics team this past season, showing you what's called the Huey bot, which is a hero bot. And that robot was designed and built for the game that we did called Mix and Match this past year. Mix and Match was stacking pins on a game field, and you'll actually see at Steam Night the students perform using this Huey robot some alliance competitions at Steam Night on the game field. When I think about robotics, when I initially thought about robotics, I thought, okay, tell me the rules so I know what game it is, and I'm competitive in nature. I think about basketball. Basketball has had the same rules for the most part, year in and year out, but robotics is very different. The game changes every single year. When my daughter first started doing it, the game was called Full Volume, and that was putting blocks into a container. The year after that was called Swish Rapid Relay, and that was a catapult robot that would catapult a ball into a goal, and I'll show you what that robot looked like. And then this May, we'll find out what the new game is for next year. Well, what they do is they release it on YouTube at the Worlds competition, which is taking place in St. Louis this year. So in robotics, we can make our robot however we want. I think we most definitely should. But Vex does give us some blueprints to some robots that we can build. And that's what we've done mostly in the past is we followed a blueprint step by step to build a robot, and then we've modified it. The this is Bite. This is the robot that my daughter, her team had built when they were doing the game called Volume. This is Swish. This is the catapult robot that I was telling you about. So a ball would fit into this catapult, it would lower up, and then it would fling into a goal. That was a really fun game. And then our most recent hero bot called Huey has a claw here, and it would clamp onto a pin, and it would stack. Really hope you guys are able to come to Steam Night and see our kids in action. We do want to put controllers in every kid's hands, and you parents as well, if you're interested, and see what it is that we did this past year. But again, next year, we don't know what the new game is yet, and I'm sure they'll have a different hero bot but there's all kinds of different robots that we could build as well. Another thing that's kind of tough when articulating expectations for the robotic season is that we don't really know the competition schedule as far out in advance as I know that I would like. My family and I were involved in, our kids are involved in volleyball, track, baseball, orchestra. We're on the go quite a bit. With the robotics competition, sometimes they don't open up until a couple weeks before registration. Or registration doesn't open up before the competition, rather. So I just wanted to share with you a sample competition that we had this past year. So we did an all-girls scrimmage in October at Abraham Lincoln Elementary, and then we did a scrimmage with all of our teams in November at Abraham Lincoln Elementary. And then we competed. Well, we were going to go to Columbus, Indiana to compete in December, but we had a really bad snowstorm and we had to cancel that. We went to Decatur Township in January. We traveled to that by bus. We also had a competition within Perry at Perry Meridian Middle School, and that took place in January. And then we closed out the season in February at Winchester Village Elementary. My wife, Natasha Cummings, and Mindy Williams co-host the Perry Township events, which this year was at Perry Meridian Middle School and at Natasha's school at Winchester Village. We were very fortunate to have two teams make it to state, which extended our season into spring break just a couple weeks ago, actually. In the past, we've traveled to New Pal, we've traveled to Tryon Central, we've traveled to Franklin Central. So I just don't really know what our schedule is going to look like this upcoming year, but it is a huge commitment. We start practicing basically at the beginning of the school year in August, all the way out until the end of the season. These competitions, too, I should say, they're all-day events. They're from 7:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. As parents that have done these Saturdays before will tell you that by 5 p.m., us adults and the kids, we're all tired. We know it's a big commitment, but we do want to be very transparent as you make a decision on whether robotics is something that you and your child would like to pursue. Practices. So we had 6 teams at Jeremiah Gray, and our practice schedule was we'd have a couple teams practice on a Monday at 7 a.m. and a few teams practice on Thursday at 7 a.m. And that 7 a.m. time slot was so that we could get our robots built. Wanted to put in as much time in the beginning getting the robots built, and then once they were built, which took up most of September and even up until fall break in October. After that, it was the programming, and then it was driving, it was modifying. It's just getting better and better and better. We do practice throughout the year, and sometimes we do have practices on Saturdays and an optional practice sometimes even after school. There are times that we've practiced with Winchester Village. We look at each other as sister schools because we go to a lot of competitions together, which gives us a competitive advantage. We look at it as getting to know each other and better aligned together. This year, if your child makes the team, we are going to ask that they pay $20 for their uniforms to just offset some of those costs. And then as far as lunches at competitions, we'll be asking for donations. So again, those competitions are all-day events, and what we try to do is order pizza, typically from Domino's, and help feed the kids. But we'll give more information about that next year as the season gets started. All right, so I think most have probably heard, but we are going to extend our robotics program to a 7th team, and that 7th team is going to be 3rd graders. Now, we can only take six third graders. We just, anybody who's ever been on one of our teams knows that we do everything in our power to take in every fourth grader and fifth grader that we can. For third grade, it's going to have to be selective. We're going to do tryouts July 23rd. 9 a.m. is when we'll have the third graders come in, and they'll be there for an hour. And then fourth grade will come in for an hour at 10 a.m. This says 12 p.m. It's a mistake. That's my fault. Fifth grade will be 11 a.m. So pick up and drop off will be in the front. Tryouts will last for an hour for each grade level. Again, with only 6 students from third grade making it this year, I do want to preface that if a third grader is interested and they're a little nervous about being cut, I just ask that they please throw their name in the hat. Speaks volumes that they're trying and they want to be on this team. Trying to think of anything else that I might be forgetting. But yeah, 7 teams. Let me just tell you that in Indiana is the largest robotics program in the entire United States. It's so large that we are actually dividing Indiana into 3 regions next year. So instead of anybody from the state making it to the state competition, there's going to be a northern region, we'll be in the central region, and then there's the southern region. With Indiana being the largest program in the United States, it's pretty cool that here at Jeremiah Gray we have as many teams as we do. I'm not sure of another school that does have as many teams as we, and that goes for Indiana. When my daughter started, there were 26 kids. Last year, there were 36 students, and this year we were up to 41 students, and we're getting even larger. So it's exciting. Probably wondering, okay, what's next? We have a STEAM night coming up on April 9th at JGE, and I just want to thank Mrs. Wilson, Mrs. Pennington, Mrs. Wells, and Mrs. Harrington, who are on the board for our PTO and are hosting this awesome event. I will be having a robotic station in my next to my room in the hallway, and that's where I'll be putting controllers in students' hands and parents' hands if you would like as well. And then I just want you to basically sign up for tryouts. I'll have a sign-up sheet that says I would like more information about trying out for robotics, and then I'll get in contact with everyone. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I might be forgetting. I hope everyone's having a great spring break. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to see this video through, and if you have any questions, please let me know. Have a good one, everyone.